Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be doing a comprehensive summary of my entire college application process, from drafting my personal statement, to submitting my college applications, to the interviews that I did, my college decision results, and at the end of the video, I'll be revealing where I committed to school for the next 4 years. So this is my 100 subscriber special. I'm sorry I couldn't do something actually special because I didn't really expect this channel to blow up so fast, but I think this is going to be a pretty fun video. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. Alright, so the unofficial first step of my college application process is actually in May of my junior year, where in my AP Lang class we had an assignment to write a personal statement that we would be using for our college application later in the year. I didn't really take this too seriously because I had a lot of time ahead of me and I was worried about more important stuff like my SAT score. But yeah, so although there wasn't much to talk about, this is unofficially the start of my college application season. And it's good to note that the essay that I wrote for that assignment is not the essay that I submitted to my colleges. So if you're kind of in that same situation right now, your first idea for your essay generally won't be the one that you're finally submitting to colleges. So during the summer months like June, July, the only thing I was really doing for the college application process was studying for the SAT. I'd plan on taking the SAT in August so I can get a good score and then I'd get that out of the way. But again, in my last video, some advice for the SAT, please get it out of the way like sophomore year summer or like really early in your high school years, so that you don't have to stress about like doing it the fall of your senior year, because it is still like a time commitment. You still have other stuff that you need to do, but yeah, I got it out of the way as early as possible for my senior year at least. So yeah, that's what I was doing that summer. Alright, so I'd say the official start of my college application process was in late August, right after I finished up my research internship. It was about like a week before school started when I actually started to brainstorm my idea for my Common App personal statement. It's the same story about my brother and me baking bread for him, but at that stage, I had tried to make like the bread a large metaphor for my entire Common App like essay. Like I tried to use like the process as like, I'd say I tried to connect like a piece of the process to a piece of my life. So just gonna say that was a bad idea. It was a really bad essay. I thought I was cooking up, but it was not a good essay. And the reason I figured that out is because I had my friends review it and they said, yeah, this does not make sense. I don't get what you're trying to get at here. So that kind of shows the importance of having people like peer review your essay. But yeah, so late August is when I actually officially started the college application process with my Common App essay. That's pretty late. I'd suggest that you start in May, like when I unofficially started, but actually be serious in May. At this time, I was also studying for my SATs. Yeah, so the entire month of August, I guess that last bit, I was just drafting up my Common App essay. When I took my SAT in August, I ended up getting, I believe, a 1530. I think the distribution was a 770 in the math section and a 760 in the evidence-based reading and writing section. Alright, so during September is when I really ramped up the seriousness I had for the college application process. As I mentioned earlier, I was really interested in BSMD programs, and these programs usually have really early deadlines. I believe one of them for Pitt and Penn State was due October 10th, so I really had to nail my Common App statement by like the end of September, have it edited, stuff like that. So that's when I really worked hard on drafting, redrafting, rewriting, revising my Common App essays. I also had to worry about my supplementals, and BSMD supplementals are notorious for being pretty challenging. They ask you like, why do you want to be a doctor, why medicine, and like there's just a lot of challenging aspects to that application as well. So this is a time where I really just sat down at the computer, began drafting up ideas, watching a bunch of videos, and just really working hard, burning the midnight oil to get those early applications for my BSMD programs in. So October of my senior year was a pretty big month for me. That's when some of my major deadlines were coming up. So it was at this point where I finalized almost all the parts of my college application. I started submitting applications for BSMD programs to Pitts and Penn States. This was also like the time around like that CSS profile stuff where it was like October. I was filling that out with my parents. it was a pretty big document. I'd say like allot some time for like to talk to your family about like your financial situation and stuff like that. But yeah, October wasn't like, it was a busy month because I was still worrying about like the RD applications that I was gonna have to do right after I submitted all my early action stuff for my BSMD programs. But yeah, this is just another hardworking month, really putting the I guess the fingers to the keypad for writing my supplemental essays for these BSMD programs as well, while also maintaining like my good grades for the first quarter of my high school year. Yeah, so at this time I'm still in the middle of grinding and just chugging along, I guess. Alright, so November. This is a month of a lot of big deadlines for my BSMD programs, like Hofstra's, Baylor's, the College of New Jersey's, Rutgers. I believe like half the schools that I applied to, so around 20, were BSMD schools. So around this time, early November, I was just really focusing on my supplemental essays, why BSMD, why doctor, stuff like that. I think one of the easier parts was that because I was applying to like the same, like similar programs, the essay prompts were actually very parallel to each other. So I didn't have to write physically that many essays. I didn't have to come up with that many new ideas, but I did have to rework them for every single application. So after the BSMD deadlines passed, I took a little bit of a break, just maybe like a couple days just to recover before the grind for my RD application started in December. These include my top schools, like my Ivy League schools, and other schools as well. Just a quick note on like this period of time in my life. It was not a good time. I'm gonna be honest, I was not happy a lot in November, December. I was really very tired, very irritable, very just like angry all the time, stressed out all the time. And this is kind of why after the fact, after I submitted all these applications and went through the entire process, I really do discourage applying to so many schools just because of the effect and toll on your physical and mental health. Like, I was really in a bad place for a lot of those times. I was really feeling bad about myself because I didn't think I was even good enough to be applying to all these programs, and like I was just wasting my time. I didn't have stellar extracurriculars that all the other kids who were applying to these programs had. I was really insecure about my application as a whole at this time. And I know this is a bit of a long segment, but I think it's really important to say that your mental and physical health does come first. You shouldn't really be sacrificing so much of it so that like you genuinely start to hate yourself during this process, which is what happened to me. I'm glad that I'm getting better, but I'm still feeling those effects like right now, and I don't know how long it's going to take for me to get back to normal, but that's just like a warning for applying to so many schools. And yeah, I'm sorry if I'm ending this segment on a bad note, but I just felt like that was really important to say. November was kind of just me finishing up my BSMD applications and just taking a bit of a break from my mental health before I started my RD applications in December. Alright, so December. This time was pretty not fun time, but so after my break from like submitting my BSMD applications, I was really grinding out these supplements for these top schools like Ivy League schools, Hopkins, Duke, stuff like that. I was really just getting my ideas in order. I was kind of burning the midnight oil a bit. I know I'm repeating that phrase, but like I was really on a time crunch. So I was kind of just expressing myself in my most like raw personality. Like just the instant I thought of an idea to write about an essay, I literally just typed everything out right then. And then towards the end of December, like during winter break, I used that time to review all the essays that I wrote. I got my friend who had gotten into a really prestigious school, one of the Ivy League schools, here actually, REA. So he was helping me revise my essays and just giving me pointers to what he thought a strong essay looked like. So towards the end of December into early January, I was submitting like Hopkins, Duke, Ivy League schools, MIT, schools like that. sometimes I was like really rushing into like the day of the deadline was when I may have started an essay. That's a really bad idea. Please do not start your essays the day of the deadline. But I'd say that this was again a very stressful moment in my life. I was definitely not very happy during this period of time. It was really draining, it was really tiring, but we got through it, and we were able to celebrate the new year by submitting, maybe I had 10 applications left by the new year to submit, but yeah, that's kind of how December was for me. Alright, so January was another important month in my college application process. By early January, I had finished all of my college application essays, so that was a real big relief to me, a real weight off my shoulders. Yeah, I took a lot of time after that to just like relax, recover, actually get some sleep, enjoy my time with friends. By this time, I actually heard back from some schools, so I did get invited to Baylor's BSMD interview in Waco, Texas, and I believe also at this time I heard back from Rochester's BSMD. First of all, I got accepted into University of Rochester early January, and then I got an email a bit later inviting me to interview for their BSMD program. And I also won a local scholarship for I believe it was like health professions, something like that. But so January was a pretty good time for me, and I believe by late January I had started my first college interview for MIT. That was a pretty fun time. No, it was not fun. I was very nervous. I was very nervous about like the college interview process as a whole. I watched a whole bunch of videos on it, like how to like prepare for an interview, dressing properly, asking questions at the end of the interview. I remember that tip. But yeah, February was really when the interview process ramped up. I was having like an interview every single weekend, like every Sunday in like late January, early February. I was having either an online or in-person interview. Yeah, I'll get more into that in the February clip though. So all in all, January was another very important month for me. It marked the end of one milestone in my college application process and the beginning of a new milestone in my college application process with the interviews. So February was a big month for me as well. It was really dominated by college application interviews. I believe I interviewed for a lot of schools in total. I interviewed for 6 out of the 8 Ivies because Brown and Columbia don't do interviews. So of all the Ivies that did do interviews, I got interviews for all of them. I also got interviews for Duke, Northwestern, Vassar College, and I think that's it. Oh, and Dartmouth too. Dartmouth's an Ivy League. So I got interviews outside of Ivy League schools. I got interviews for Northwestern, Duke, and Vassar College. I can do an entire video on this actually, so I won't touch on this too long. But yeah, February was really dominated by college application interviews. Alright, so March, a very interesting and happy month for me. Spoiler warning before you watch the rest of this video. If you have not watched my college decision reaction video, it's going to be linked up in a card maybe here or maybe here. I really don't know. It's like mirrored, but it's whatever. So if you want to watch my college decision reaction videos before I talk about my college decision results, that may make more sense. Get me some more views on that video. But yeah, so after the spoiler warning, so I started off with some very good news from the University of Rochester. There, I gained admission to their BSMD program, so I had contingent acceptance to Rochester School of Medicine and Dentistry after I finished my undergraduate years. That was a very, very happy thing to happen to me, because I had gotten rejected from every single BSMD program I applied to, except for Rochester. I got invited to the interview for Baylor, but I didn't end up going after I discussed with my parents the idea of being in Baylor for like 8 years. I was not really comfortable with that idea after that discussion. So that was some pretty good news, and REMS, which is Rochester's BSMD program name, is a top 5 BSMD program. It's up there with PLME, it's up there with the University of Pittsburgh, it's up there with RPIs. but it was a very, very good news for me to have. So if I didn't get into any top schools, I would be going to an incredibly great and prestigious program at the University of Rochester. So my next biggest milestone was probably Pi Day. You guys might remember my reaction to I got waitlisted at MIT. That reaction was very genuine because it was the first time I saw like a little bit of validation in my college application process for these top schools other than BSMD programs. Actually, yeah, because I was very dejected from being rejected from so many BSMD programs. But yeah, this is the first time I saw validation for that, for all the work that I put in. And then I believe a little bit later was Johns Hopkins and WashU. I'm so sad that I never got the Johns Hopkins footage, but it's whatever. But Johns Hopkins, WashU, and then all the others started flooding in. That was just one of the best periods, probably the best moment of my life, Ivy Day. And that entire week was probably like one of the best weeks in my entire life. But March, very happy month for me. And then we go into April. Alright, could you have guessed it? April was another very big month for me. So after I gained admission to all of those really good, prestigious institutions, I decided to visit a lot of them. So I believe my first one was Princeton's preview day was April 9th or April 6th, I don't really remember. But I went to Princeton preview with my friend, the valedictorian who got in REA. Really good time, very beautiful campus. First college visit actually, like first official college visit actually. No, I lied. Rochester was my first official college visit. This is my second official college visit. Very nice. It was a one-day event, so we just drove into Princeton, drove back home. I learned a lot about the campus, about the people, the students, who my future classmates and dorm mates and friends would be if I were to choose to go to Princeton. I believe after that was Harvard's Visitas. I'm sure all of you know. That was a really good experience. I loved the overnight stay at Harvard. I spent a lot of time with a lot of prospective students. Sorry, not prospective. A lot of admitted students. The activities are so fun. A lot of good food, and I just spent a lot of time just walking the campus, and it was really beautiful. And I believe the next one was Yale. I didn't make it to Yale's Bulldogs Days. I made it to Yale Saturday, which is a one-day event. Yale, by far, prettiest campus. Like, it was so photogenic. I took so many good photos there. It was so nice. Like, I really did love Yale. The campus, I could have, like, literally, like, it was just so photogenic. I just loved all those Gothic architecture and stuff like that. It was also pretty fun to see, like, how kind of chill they were academically. They were more inclined to, like, extracurricular activities and stuff like that. I didn't really know that, like, the, like, leader of, like, each house in, like, or, like, the president of, like, each house in Yale, like, actually lives in, like, the dorm, like, with the students, like, their family, like, they all, like, live with this. Like, I just thought the entire experience was so cool at Yale. And then I capped it off with a 3-day trip to Stanford's Admitted Student Days weekend. This is the first time I've ever been to the West Coast in my entire life. I went with my dad, and I gotta give it to Stanford in California. Their weather was amazing. I loved it there. The architecture, I can see, like, the Latin American influence, Mexican American influence on the architecture, like, and Stanford's campus was so, like, beautiful, like, in a different way than Yale's. Like, it was so modern, and, like, there were so many bikes at Stanford. It was kind of hilarious. Like, everybody was just literally on a bike. It was so funny. But yeah, so all those visits, really good experiences. I met a lot of people that I have stayed in contact with up until today, and I hope to stay in contact with for the rest of my life. But yeah, those visits were so nice. I loved all the campuses. I loved all the people. I loved everything about every single school. It was just a really good experience as a whole. All right, May 1st, the deadline for committing to a college. So it's at this point in the video where I will reveal where I decided to commit to school. So cue the cutscene. All right, here's the big reveal. the college that I will be committing to as a member of the class of 2028 is none other than Harvard University. Oh my god. Yeah, so I have committed to Harvard University. I did that May 1st, so like a month ago? 2 months ago? I don't know. So I committed, yeah, so I'll be studying neuroscience at Harvard for the next 4 years. Oh, here's something cool. They actually gave us a certificate of admission, which is pretty cool. I might frame this up. But yeah, really excited to be in Boston for the next 4 years. Just grateful for the results that I've gotten out of this process. Really have my friends and family to thank for sticking with me through those rough parts, especially November, December. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Make sure to, if you want to see my college decision reaction video again, it's going to be linked right here. If you want to see the stats and extracurriculars that got me into all these schools, it's going to be linked right here. If you want to see the essays or the personal statement, the strategy that I used to write my personal statement, it's going to be right up here. And if you want to subscribe, it's going to be right here. Oh my god, I'm a YouTuber now. But yeah, thank you for watching. Have a good day. I love you all.